Hey everybody, I'm Stephen Crabtree, owner of Roasted Hemp Co. and Crossville Vapor, and this is our Ask a Bud segment on Get Roasted Entertainment. Today we are here with Vinny Degeorge. Vinny, if you will, tell everybody a little bit about yourself, how you got to Crossville, Tennessee.
Well, howdy. I'm Vinny Degeorge, and I got here from New York City. I'm a retired welder by trade, but I've also owned a record label throughout my life. And although I've never had any hits from anybody or myself, I've managed to eke out a living with it and retired to Crossville. How I got here is by God's grace. I have no idea. A friend of mine moved here and he was a musician, and I said, why here? Why would you leave New York? And he said, it's beautiful, and there's Nashville and, all that kind of stuff going on. And once I got here, I realized it was true, and there was somebody waiting to give me a land mortgage deal. So I say God was right with me to get my place here in Crossville.
That's interesting. How we met was through your charity, just the
piano giveaway program.
Yeah, which I thought was awesome. When I was a kid, like everybody that I knew or took piano lessons, and like the piano teacher was part of your church or your family. And now that I'm an adult, I don't know anybody that puts their kids through like piano lessons that we do. And there's still some people, but it's the same people that were doing it, 20 plus years ago. So I found great inspiration through trying to help, with that. And I thought it would be cool to have a piano in the Crossville store because of another store in town, that I had found out that had done that. I think there was a mix-up with the people that were going to deliver the piano, and that's how I found out about it. And then, of course, you've got your own band. I thought was really neat because it's a very nostalgic, sound, and I thought it would be neat to work together. Had you heard about the either store?
I got this piano giveaway idea not on my own. I was looking through the ads on Marketplace, and I saw a lot of free pianos that were beautiful.
Yeah.
And I thought that I would maybe start the Crossville Piano and Organ Warehouse,
yeah,
and that I would collect the pianos and sell them.
Yeah.
I used to work at Hammond Organ in New York City and sold pianos and organs, so I know that there's a market for used pianos. So I started calling the people, and I got them to give me 10 pianos all at once, mostly in Knoxville and around all over. And they were beautiful pianos, and I said, oh, wow, that's great, I can just get these pianos. Then I said, well, I can't go pick them up with a drunken hillbilly myself. I'm going to get hurt, break the house, and there's liabilities involved. So I didn't know what to do at that point. So then I thought I need to hook up with a moving company. So I started calling the moving companies around, and I found one person that said they'll pick up the pianos, but you have to have a place to put them. Then I realized I don't have a warehouse. I just have acreage, land. I don't have any warehouse or any place to put the pianos. And I prayed about it, and it came to my mind at that time to put them in different locations.
Yeah.
And how I would pay for this, I put a jar on them, collect money. Simple, right? I put on my suit, I shined up my head, and I'm a salesman. I was selling newspapers when I was little. I know how to sell. My father was a salesman. His father was a salesman. Piece of cake. Picked my 10 locations, which didn't include yours. And I went out and I thought I could sell. Well, at the end of the day, I didn't get one commitment. I laughed out of places. I got stuck with a piano. You're going to leave it here, and we can't move them, and all these problems. And I was pretty discouraged.
Yeah.
But I called a pastor friend of mine, Randy Smith, that I've watched come up, and he said, hey, I knew somebody was going to call me on a faith issue. I didn't know it would be you. So we prayed together. And that very next morning, the first call I made was to the Chronicle, and I got Bill, the editor, on. He says, 10 free piano giveaway. I love it. And thus, it started. Now, at that point, the locations that I thought never materialized. But God had a different path for me. And that brought me to one of the vape stores and another one. And then when I placed that piano that you were talking about at that first vape shop, that's when you called me. Mm-hmm. And I said, wow, I'm having trouble placing the pianos. This guy called me and wants one.
Yeah.
And I knew that it was in the right place because of what you just said.
Yep.
And I was happy to, sure, I'll give you a piano. And you got one of the most beautiful leopard, tiger pattern pianos that I've ever saw.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it's in the back of the store now.
It's in the back there. It plays, of course, it needs a restoration, and it would be worth quite a bit of money, that piano that we saved from going to a junkyard.
It's ivory keys.
Ivory keys, and the whole piano's, and it's pretty interesting to play, and it's got a plunky bass sound.
Yeah.
And every time I'll go there and enjoy a damn hit and play that piano, and people will sing around, and it's a great idea.
It reminds me of a saloon-style sound.
It does. Yeah. It really does. Yeah.
And I love that tiger pattern on the wood. It's just gorgeous.
And that's why when I heard about that we're going to lose the THC products that combustible, that you give a flame to, that we were saying, and I was just appalled because I did call every congressman and told them that I run a charity that's benefiting by it, and not just the financial support that you've given me, but the spiritual support and the watching people get in touch with their roots. I went in the roasted hemp the other day, and there was a young girl playing some Beethoven on the piano.
Mm-hmm.
And I just stood back. I didn't want to shock her. But then when she stopped, she said, "Oh, I didn't know you were watching." I said, "That was beautiful." She taught herself.
Yeah.
So I told her about the free lessons that I give at the Art Circle Library. If she wanted to come down, I would help her. And the other girl was saying, "Oh, maybe I'll go." That was with her. Yeah. And it just shows you that just having it there for her to tinker with got that idea going.
Right. Honestly, I thought it would be a great idea to offer lessons. It doesn't necessarily hit the original idea that I had as far as getting the youth back into it, because we're losing things that I feel like are integrally responsible for us as a society, as far as organized sports, music programs, a lot of these things are being lost through technology, and the advancement of it, and it kind of all goes back to the same thing that opened my eyes to it was when I was working for the sheriff's department in the jail. So many people would sit in jail because they could not remember a phone number, of anybody, a loved one or anyone, to even, be able to get out. And just because they didn't have access to money at the time, they had to sit there. And when I was, a kid in the 90s, I knew at least 20 numbers off the top of my head.
That's true.
Yeah, the more, ease of life that you get, the more difficult and more dependent you become, and that's something that I think we all should, pay attention to. And we're going to lose the ability of arts, and what makes us, such beautiful individuals, is the ability to individually inspire and to learn what you can and can't do. So I think it's so important. And so the fact that of course a kid can't come in for lessons, at least like you said, it could open the door. And we have a customer, that comes through in Cookeville who's blind, that plays, is amazing.
Better.
Yeah, I was very intrigued when we got that grand or baby grand. I know there's some dispute there as to if it's a baby or not, but whatever. It's a grand piano, and that's brought in a lot of attention, and more people have started to speak more about it. Whereas, this time, last year or 2 years ago, there wasn't any talk about piano and I think it's amazing to see where it's gone. I want to see it continue to grow. But, of course, that it threatens us with the loss of, THC, which is what's brought a lot of us together. It's non-discriminate. It helps everybody, and then at the same time, it's brought in a lot of people, together that would never have maybe shared the same, atmosphere together in the same room. And they found, ways to connect and help and benefit each other. And, it's such an amazing community, that it is so frustrating to see, it's not just government, and what I'm learning now more as I get more involved in politics, this is business, and a business is being threatened. So they're acting as you would expect a business to, act, and that's to protect their assets by shutting us down. But that doesn't mean that they're going to run it the same way. They're looking at just based profit, and that's why, I like to have people on to kind of get a bit of their insight as to, what products do typically use?
Well, I like flower the best.
I do too.
The dabs are great.
Yeah.
And I use them regularly to go to sleep, or even to get into a project that I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm one that smokes all the time, and I'll tell you the truth. When I first went into the Crossville location, and I stepped through the saloon doors you had at that time,
Yeah.
and I saw that bar with all the dab pipes lined up, and somebody there, dab master, ready to serve me. I thought I had to heaven, because I dreamed of this so many times when I was the bar master and I had a room full of people and I'm serving everybody. Wouldn't this be great if there was just a bar that could do this?
Yeah.
And I love that. And then the whole camaraderie around weed has always been there. There's always a circle.
Yeah.
And then they made it so that you have to make a K formation, because if they see the circle, they know you're smoking and they want to bust you. So, I mean, and the benefits, 100%. And I can tell you story after story after story of how drug addicts were rehabilitated, people with cancer. But the thing is that if you have children and they can't go in there, okay, I understand that.
Sure.
But when, like for the piano, let's say, not just a product, the parents will get into the piano and they'll take the kids to maybe the art circle, or find a private teacher that'll come to the house. So the benefits are going to spider out to all the communities and all the things.
Yeah.
The guy in my backyard stealing my mower is there because he can't get high in the shop and can't get his back to go right. So he's looking to get drugs that are illegal, and he has to do something illegal. The guy in the mower's there. It's been there. Now they take the product away, they're going to steal the mower again.
Of course, I'm fascinated with the introduction as to where we are right now. That's the best thing that I could see, is that it has indisputably opened up the door to medicinal discovery and the fact that there is benefit. And I'm quite positive that the feds are going to maintain the Farm Bill as the way that it is. But it's the individual states now that are going against it. I know Texas, they just got the veto, so they're not going to lose it. And I still think that there's great possibility for us in Tennessee, as long as we continue to work together, to communicate with our senators and House of Reps.
I'm just one man.
Right, and we need everybody, and we need them to understand that this is facts. Like, I'm not just asking for money, even though you do have to raise money. Really your participation is more important, per se. The fact that you do call, and not just call them, get involved with the county commissioners here in Crossville, or the county that you live in. That's even more important in my opinion than that. We were told by another senator that yes, the calls and the emails are great, but he wants to hear the stories from his county commissioners, for the districts that he's over. And I would imagine that opinion is the same amongst the rest of them. So it's because people are ignorant to the process, and I'm one of them. I'm just now starting to scratch the surface of how this the political process works. And I feel because everybody says, what can I do? And then there's that feeling of hopelessness, because you don't know where to start, and you think that, oh well, what's the point? Well, the point is definitely there. It just takes a few of us to do it. But because we're ignorant to the process, it doesn't happen. And I don't I'm not trying to go into theory as to why that is. I personally feel like it's to allow them to continue to do whatever it is that they want, and the less people that are involved, the less meddling and roadblocks that they come to. So speaking on the federal level, how does a civil servant making $200,000 a year come out making or worth hundreds of millions? It doesn't make sense. So it's there, and I'm not saying that the state level people are doing that. I'm not implying that. I'm just saying it's happening in politics. We know it is. So it should be everybody's at the forefront of their mind to at least take a little bit of your time in the community that you live in, and get to know who your politicians are. You see the election signs, elect so and so for this commissioner, that commissioner, trash, this. like take a minute to see who that is and participate, because that directly affects you. Like the federal politics is like become, the nation's sports like pastime today. And it that's so far from where it needs to be. Like we were talking before it started, you've got another project that I thought is really good, and it's based on like the pay it forward concept. And I like to say, like I was said to me not too long ago about in the 90s, it's probably like one of the last times that communities were like this or society was like this. If you got a phone call, it was hello, like who's this or how are you doing? Oh, hey, nice to speak to you, and you talk on the phone. Now when you get a phone call, you almost angrily look at your phone. Who is this? Why is somebody calling me? Again, in the 90s, someone knocked on your door. It's like, oh, I wonder who could be at the door. You have sitcoms, the same thing. Today, like someone knocks on your door and you're like peeking through the window, almost like you have to be somewhat suspicious as to who's at your door, and what changed for it for us to react so drastically different in such a short amount of time towards each other. So like there needs to be some like regaining of compassion for one another, and understanding that no matter what, there's always going to be people that abuse a good thing. And I think that is some of the fear for the people that aren't connected with the cannabis culture, that that we're after the youth, or where the kids are gonna get a hold of it, like
the old propaganda coming up for the day.
Since the beginning of time, kids have experimented with things. Like you're never going to stop that. What's best in my opinion is to limit access as much as possible, but also ensure that whatever products that they do get their hands on are the safest possible.
Not least with fentanyl.
Yeah, right. And what happens if we lose THC products, like that everybody wants, flour and concentrate? It sends it right back to the black market,
which could have those particular drugs and things in them that they want to get you using them, so they put it in the marijuana.
However it happens, right. Like whether it's malicious, intent, and someone just wants to hurt somebody, and then it goes to the, like more than just the one person, or it's through cross-contamination because they're a dealer and they're selling all kinds of stuff, or it's through cross-contamination because they're a user and, and their surfaces aren't clean, and, whatever the many different variables may be, it happens, and there are many cases of it. I think a big part of it is that people are experimenting with drugs, and then they don't want to admit to that, and they blame it on cannabis because it's the least, less stigmatized drug that you could say, because everybody has done that, so he was just trying to smoke and ended up overdosing on fentanyl. More than likely the person was trying heroin and overdosed on fentanyl. And that's sad. So like what's the best way to combat that? Make these products legal, leave them the way that they are, to regulate and enforce, but that's not what we're looking at right now. What we're looking at right now is a complete, eradication of the natural product being flour, and concentrate, which all concentrate is your trichomes and other forms of cannabinoids that are melted basically off.
But then now you got to make sure that you do the right amount for yourself too.
Yeah.
So the dam master's there, and I said, remind me that this is not a bong.
Yeah.
Because doing bongs all my life, I just take the whole thing down.
Yeah.
And I was doing it like that and getting just ossified, choking, and everything else off of it.
Yeah, well, I mean...
And then, so he tells me, Vinny, that's not a bong. You don't have to do it all at once. You can sit there for a while.
Yeah.
And I feel the same goodness when I sit there for a few minutes and take my time with it and relax, than trying to suck the whole thing down.
You gotta respect it.
Gluttony is not good.
No, and you know how many times we've had people come in and say they're from California or they're from wherever or they're from here and they smoke for 20 years. Like give us the strongest thing you got. Like we had to develop a process, for how this works. Even so much so that we give a free one away. Like when you sign the waiver and like in the waiver is basically just an introduction into like what this is, so that way you understand, and it's us telling you so that way we know that and we choose what it is, so that way you don't get the strongest thing. You can purchase whatever you want after this. So we can judge your tolerance, because especially from a business standpoint, the first time you see someone green out per se, because no matter what it is that they do, a lot of times it's because we don't take care of ourselves, and health is poor.
That's right.
It starts with dehydration. That's the number one. The malnutrition, like weight, that has a lot to do with it. And a person, like, really, I think they tend to like hold their breath, or I think it's a mixture of things, but the main thing that people don't think about is that they think, I've smoked for 20 years. This is some Mickey Mouse training wheel stuff.
Right. They don't think it's real.
Yeah.
Weed.
Right. Diet. And then they consume, and then they're like, oh my gosh, I am high and in public, and there's people around
for
and
hours.
And they can see me, and then they forget that they need to breathe, and then they pass out. Of course, we've got a process to help with that. It doesn't happen very often, but
the spray.
There's really CBD helps with it. There's some other shots and stuff that we brought in, things that do help, but that can give it a bad name, and I can definitely see on a safety standpoint, like, you wouldn't want anybody and everybody just running a dab bar, based on these
in your house.
But concentrates are necessary, for individuals that have a higher tolerance. Man, I can't tell you how many times people would come in, and like, to me, 5 to 10 milligrams of an edible is enough. Like, after a couple weeks, I might take some more, but then like some of my employees and a healthy amount of my customers, 100 milligrams isn't enough.
That's right.
They need 400 milligrams.
Me too. I like the strongest one of the edibles too.
And that's mind blowing. But like, the new law will limit what we can sell. It'll be 15 milligrams per serving, with no more than 300 milligrams per package. And I understand their concern, and they're trying to regulate for the beginning user. But the only way that I would necessarily be somewhat okay with that is if their next goal would be to increase those limits, because, like, how long are you regulating for the beginning user? We've been at market for 4 years now, at least. Really, we've had the potential to be at market for 6 years, but it's only really been more mainstream for 4. It's hard to see that as anything more than another tax grab, because before, you could have bought 400 milligram gummies for, say, $35, before tax, and sales tax. And now, it'll be $60+ to get that same amount. So,
right, because you got the tax on each little bit of amount. That's what they want to do. Right. Penny pinching.
Well, and I hate to see it like that. It's through malicious intent again, for money. Like, I'd like to think that they are looking out for being, but it's hard to see it that way when you've got alcohol that's trying to take over an established industry, and replace it with just edibles. Now, like, edible THC, does that do the same thing for you as smoking or inhaling?
It does, but it's constant. And when I do a bong, I get a rush right away. Mm-hmm. Where you do the edibles, and it's just a constant high, where I don't have to keep going back and smoking more. So while I'm doing things, it's good to keep a steady high and a steady soothing on my back, or whatever it is I'm using it for that day. But the other day, somebody gave us a couple of edibles, and they were strong, really strong. And I had no trouble with my girlfriend. She was like, oh my God, why did I do this? And she's like, oh, and I'm still high. It's an hour or two later. And I said, well, why don't you let somebody put something in your mouth just like that and take it without even knowing what you're getting? Yeah. And I've seen that happen in bars in years, where somebody just stuck a pill in somebody's mouth and they took it. Yeah. I had to take one out of somebody's mouth. My girl said, what the hell's that? What are you doing?
Yeah, for real.
Are you out of your mind?
Yeah.
And that's how that all happens. Now, alcohol, you can abuse anything.
Yeah.
And in a bar, you have a bartender.
Yeah.
And he decides when to cut you off. Not the city, not the state. Same thing in the dab bar. You have a dab master. And he's going to decide to give you this weed. And you can book, or this strain and that strength. So if you want to listen to him, you can. It's the same thing. Now, bar, they're liable too. And I noticed that in your place, you got some food there and stuff, so people get a little high. They don't have to run right out the door. They can sit there. They can play a game.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of times there's food when I walk in there.
Yeah, we encourage people to stay, as long as possible.
And this way they can come down a little and realize where they're at. Like you said, they're in town and they're gonna have to drive.
Yeah.
And they don't really test for marijuana when you drive.
Well, that's part of the issue as far as legalization that legislators are concerned of, and I don't necessarily, again, disagree, is that they can't test to see like how recent that you've consumed. Like, they can take you to jail and assume that you're impaired on something other than alcohol, and then they can take your blood and see that you have THC in your system, but THC sits around so long, like you could be just tired and hadn't consumed anything, but maybe you smoked 2 weeks ago and get a DUI today because you were like drowsy driving, and it appeared as if you were high. It's not so open and shut for police, and that opens up room for lawsuits and legal issue. So like that some of them presented the fact that they didn't want to legalize until science had caught up and we could tell how impaired someone was,
how high they are.
Exactly. Yeah. And I don't think that we should wait for science to catch up for us to be able to especially when the market's already established. Like, you already have thousands, just the 2 stores that I have right now service thousands upon thousands of people. That is the majority, I would say over 80% are medicinal benefit. First, it started with I need something for top 3 is sleep, pain, and depression.
Right.
There's just so much, and it starts through that, and then they find out, well, maybe it didn't help with this, but it actually helped with this, or help with this and this. And we've got many cases, a couple that we've had on the podcast, where they saved hundreds of dollars, even though having to spend money on prescriptions, that they're not having to take anymore.
Plus,
which
things
improves
like
quality
your
of life.
liver that's getting burnt out from taking those pills all the time.
Yes.
So, and smoking a natural or using the edibles is definitely much better.
Yeah.
And I would really hate to see us lose this, and if it does, I hope that we can get it back. But what you said before, see, people they like to train on the computer. They're not taking their hands and playing. That's why I told us you're going to have to take your fingers and actually play the keys and learn the music in order to be at the level you want. So whether it be music or art, people are getting disconnected, like you said. So that also means that when they go by and they see that politician sign, they research it. People ignore it. They ignore who's the president until it actually affects them and it's in their face and there's somebody with a Trump sign stopping your car,
Yep.
So they tend to ignore things. They don't read. We brought this up one time. I said, why don't you put one of those scrolling signs there so all people sitting, they could learn about what's happening with politics and what they need to do. They don't read the sign. No. And I said, well, unless there's something up there saying they're going to get a discount, if they're reading the sign and they see this code word, they don't read it. So it's the same thing. How do you engage people? Instant gratification of some kind, like I just said.
Yeah.
Who knows? But in all, what we have to do is pray. Because all of this is by God. And people say, okay, you're crazy. But I see it happen all the time. If you pray and you have faith, and it's within God's Bible, His Word, it's within that. You're not asking for just a Mercedes-Benz to drive around with. Yeah. God's going to give it to you if you have faith. And He'll give you just what you need. And it'll be a little car that He wants to take somebody to the store with. And you brought up what came to me with...
like the new project.
I was praying the other day, and it came to me to help the homeless that we don't need a big building that's going to train everybody and volunteers and outreach programs and have all of that there. It's a lot simpler than that. And it's just help one to win, WON. Just help one person. And there's enough people in America that the homeless would be nothing if everybody helped one. But what has to happen is you have to find the right person that you want to help that's similar for something that God matches you two up, and you'll be able to help that one person. You could get them the drug help if they need that. You could get them the mental help, and you could get them a phone. There's something you can do. I don't say just walk up to somebody that's laying in the street, hand them $20, or that you could take that person in your house. But if there was a network, so I'm thinking that everybody has phones, or somebody can be handed a phone if they don't. And a network of people that want to help somebody and matching them with the people that need the help. So what just happened to me is I was given the free piano lessons over at the Art Circle Library, and a gentleman stuck his head, his name's Big Country. And I said, come on in. And he didn't really know how to play. He was singing some gospel songs, and he's homeless. Been homeless 26 years. He was over at the center, and he couldn't get along over there, the rules and regulations, and he got popped out. So I have 5 acres of land. It's out of town, and somebody that can survive there, which he was and is, I offered him that. If he would want to pitch a tent on my land, use the river to wash up, he did it, and he's surviving there. So now he's using my tools. I trust him, and he's fixing mowers. And all the money he gets, he'll keep. So he'll get himself straightened out, get his own land. Hard.
And you have to do it on your own. That's what I like so much about this, is that like this isn't just like talking about taking straight from your pocket and giving, which isn't necessarily bad, but it's allowing them touch a rope to like pull themselves. Yeah.
And him just having somebody there to talk to instead of living in the woods by himself.
Sure. Yeah.
To sit by there and talk with him.
You are as the top 5 people that you associate with.
And he prays. And he will pray with me, and he has faith in God. So I see opportunities opening. So I'm going to take the piano giveaway program and have a board meeting, because that's what you have to do, and start a bylaw and ask them if we could support just Help One program. And then a little bit of start up some posters at the centers. And every place I was looking for a mattress for him for the tent, and every one that I spoke to there, which deal with the homeless and people in need all the time, was supportive of this idea and thought it a great idea. So I'm going to move ahead on it with God's help to go ahead and start this little website and get it in the hands of people so that they can use this tool to connect with each other. Find a like-minded person like I did that's able to live like that, and in my case. But he told me stories where people pulled him up and at a place and brought him and put him in the camper behind the house that they're not used. Whatever it is. And maybe they need to go to a hotel. Maybe you have money for a hotel. But the whole thing is that you're helping just one person. And that person is the one that you guys got along and you're able to pick. Maybe they look like you. Maybe she was a sewing in a factory, and then she's out in the street now, and then you like to sew. And she could talk to you about sewing and help you with that. So whatever it is, that I think that God is in control. He's in control of this industry, and evil's there trying to ruin it. And that's the constant fight. And our prayers influence the better part of it over the evil. And evil loses in the end. So whether it be now or in the future that we get it back, we will have this. Because I've dreamed, as I said, many times of walking in a place and having that tab bar. There it is, reality.
That's probably one of the coolest things that I've had is people that are much more my senior stopping me in the Cookeville, well, both locations, but some of the most professed appreciation was from the Cookeville location, because it's so big. It is literally the bar alternative. It's a cannabis dab bar venue with no alcohol that has the same feel and vibe as a bar, but no alcohol, no out of control testosterone, or no had too many and this person's staring at me funny. There's none of that. No. And even though some people may go next door and get a beer or two, that's moderation, and of course I support that. But then you can come and most people are not doing that. They're watching performance or puff and paint, which is one of my favorites.
Yeah, that was a great idea. Because you're getting a nice buzz and you're expressing yourself with art.
Yeah, with art.
We're going to bring music there. We're going to have a music lesson program, like a group lesson I'll have, and work out the details coming up so that we could support music
Yeah, I'm
and
looking
art.
forward to it. Yeah, my wife and I went on she took me on a. She took me actually on this. I can't remember what they called it. It was like wine and paint or something, and that's what got me the idea of it. And I thought, man, what's better than wine and painting? Something that helps with your concentration and meditation. You know, that's what I like so much about THC myself, was it allows self-reflection. And not to bring up the like popular Joe Rogan, but he had made a statement to where it causes you to face the like internal stress that you suppress in your subconscious, of like all those things that you say you need to do, that they get piled on top of, and then your mind is clouded as to like what's bothering you so much. And it could be something as simple as I need to fix this thing on the window, I need to rotate my tires, I need to take the garbage out, I need this, I need that, and things get covered up, and then some people fall prey to not doing any of it, and then it just builds, and then it gets worse, and so on and so forth. So it's such an amazing tool for self-reflection that I thought it would be an amazing thing to do with Puff and Paint, and that's turned out to be one of our best events. And we're trying to do increase that experience for like a date night, because I think it would be amazing to have like a jazz style band or like blues like playing while people are painting on a date night, or just by themselves, and then have it catered with Glenmore Crabtree. I cannot remember the name of his catering company, I apologize, but like, dude, I've had barbecue 1,000 different ways, it seems. And on our 420 festival, he did like a play on barbecue and potato salad, and it was like nothing I'd ever had before. Like the most like high-end version of barbecue and potato salad that I'd had. And they're like, I'd like to have them cater, and I think we're trying to do that on one coming up. I'm so just amazed, again, the community of people that we've been able to bring together, people that would never have shared a sentence with each other willingly in a public setting, are doing that, have become really close and good friends, and we've built a really good community, and I want to continue to see this grow and inspire. And like you said, even if we do lose it for a short period of time, which I have faith that we're not going to.
Faith.
It has helped far too many people, and the love of money is the root of all evil, not money being, the root of all evil.
Love.
Yep. And, that's kind of what we're going up against right now. So with the right, community and public support, there's no stopping us from maintaining what we've got. So if everybody would just follow our call to actions, and reach out. If anything, if you're confused as to what you can do, just call or come by. We will give you all the resources that you need, on who to speak to, like where to come if you want to come with us, and help educate on what you can do as a citizen. And that doesn't just stop with just this issue. If there's another issue that you're passionate about, it goes the same.
You'll be able to know now what you have to do.
Exactly.
See, what I thought was great was that you had the website set up, the post set up, so you can just click it and get all the emails that you needed out. So that's important because, as I said, people are not going to just do it.
Yeah.
So if you have something there ready that at a click of a button or a tap on your phone, you've expressed your opinion and you've told everybody.
Yeah.
You don't have to sit there for an hour and try to wait on phones and get all your things in. So that was very important. So it's up to you. To go out and do something sometime to help this problem go away. It's not just us, and it's everybody that has to do that one thing that you need. Just help one person, just make one phone call, press one button, express your opinion so that you can be heard and know that we're doing good for everyone out there, for society and for each individual person. Even the dogs and cats are benefiting by it.
Yeah, that's true.
Amen. God bless everyone.
Yeah, thank you. It was good to speak with you, Vinny. Thank you.